Are you a supremacist? Are you in their group? After a difficult morning at the office, you decide to take your lunch outside in the downtown park that the front of your office building faces. You walk outside and the first things you notice are the warm sunshine and the cool breeze. You look up to see some beautiful puffy white clouds above. The smell of the hot dog stand infiltrates the cool breeze, making your decision easy on what you're having for lunch. A fresh dog, fries, and a fresh squeezed lemonade. As you receive your lunch, you notice a gentleman now standing on a platform giving a public speech to anyone that would listen. You begin to listen and hear a few lines that pique your interest. As he continues with his speech, you realize that the only things you agree upon are the first couple of sentences he said that piqued your interest in the first place. The rest of what he spewed you felt was an extremist point of view that normally you would have nothing to do with. As you finish your lunch, throw away your trash, and head back to the office, you were stopped by the local newspaper. The reporter had noticed that you were one of several that were listening to what this gentleman had to say. He asks you a few questions about what you thought. You answer with your candidness. You state that you agreed with the first couple of statements the gentleman made, but for the most part you thought the speech was full of hate, bigotry, and a point of view that in no way would you ever condone. You make it back to the office and tell some coworkers about your experience. You mention the newspaper, and you and your colleagues poke fun at making headline news. What you did not realize is that the gentleman that was speaking was a famous extremist in his circle, and the reporter you spoke with was from the National Times, a popular national news outlet. The next morning you turn on your television, as you always do, to catch up on the happenings in the world. What happens next is unexpected, to say the least. You hear your name on the national news media, along with the caption of some kind of racial supremacy in small-town USA. The lump in your throat becomes larger and larger. What have you done? You answered a couple of questions and become a headliner on this supposed reputable news source. You realize that they took your first answer on what you agreed upon and made it appear like you agreed with the speech in its entirety. You agree that that is what you said, but not in that manner. Not in that context, but the media, looking for a story, found one in you. The next thing you know, your phone is ringing off the hook. Media outlet after media outlet wanting an interview with you. The more interviews, and the more you try to reinterpret what you said, the larger supremacist follower they portray you to be. The next thing you know, your reputation is shot. Your position at the firm you used to work at was now filled by someone else. They decided to distance themselves from your perceived beliefs. Guilty you are. My question is this: because you agreed with the first two sentences the gentleman made, does that make you a part of his group? Does that make you a follower of him? Does that make him a follower of you? If one makes a comment that if you do not like it here, then leave, does that make one a follower of a supremacy group? Does that make the group a follower of you? What about the rest of the core beliefs of the group? What about the rest of your core beliefs? Do they coincide with one another? Does it or should it matter whom you are making the comment about? Where does race come into any of this? If someone makes negative comments about the core of our country, does it matter if they are black, white, brown, orange, or green? If the majority of people stand up and agree with the comment that if you don't like it here, leave, whether they are black, white, brown, or even magenta, does that make the majority supremacists? Just asking the questions. What do you think?